days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. And we're going to be talking about what is the game plan for the 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh boy, this is going to be a tough one. Kansas City Chiefs are no joke. Their offense is absolutely spectacular, like usual. And this is going to be one of those matchups where the 49ers are going to have to get in there and go back to what they normally do to handle business. And what is that? Run the football. The 49ers are going to have to run the football at a high level. They're going to have to make sure they try to keep this Kansas City Chiefs offense off the field. That way they can go ahead and limit the amount of touches that players like Patrick Mahomes actually have. I mean, it's one of those things you just can't allow Patrick Mahomes too many opportunities to get the ball to his playmakers. He has a lot of them still. Yes, Tyreek Hill is not there, but when you go up and down this roster, you still have players that can make plays. They brought in Juju Smith-Schuster from Pittsburgh. He had a big touchdown against the Buffalo Bills. Gets open on a scramble drill, makes a catch, breaks a tackle, and breaks it to the end zone. He's still got some ability there. They got the young player, Sky Moore, who has a lot of speed, and he can create. Of course, Travis Kelce. He's not a wide receiver, but he's the best playmaker on their entire roster. You have to locate 87 at all times. They brought in MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, former Green Bay Packer. 49ers remember him. He would run, it was number 83 for Green Bay, and he would run those post patterns out of the slot. It was tough. The corner patterns. It was tough for the 49ers nickels to be able to stop him. They have him, and they have the speedster McCole Hardman as well. Very talented receiver group to go along with, of course, all-pro Patrick Mahomes. And then the running back room isn't exactly bare either. They have Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU that they picked up a few years ago. And they have Jerick McKinnon. That's right, the Jet. He's on the team, former 49er, but yeah, he never really got it going for the Niners because of the knee injury, but he's got it going for Kansas City right now. And then they have Isaiah Pacheco as well from Rutgers, a guy that we were super high on here at 49ers Cutback. A lot of ability, big physical guy, but will also make a huge impact in the special teams game. He has over 250 yards in return yards this year. So Pacheco is one of those guys that can make plays there. Now let's talk a little bit about this Kansas City offense, because I think that's the biggest obstacle to overcome this week. And of course, Andy Reid is going to be the main guy that pulling the trigger on this. He's going to call the plays. Of course, he's going to be helped out by offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, but make no mistake, Andy Reid is the one that pulls the strings on this offense, and he does a really good job. This offense has been one of the best for a long time. Part of the reason is tremendous playmakers, but the other reason is that Andy Reid schemes up passes and the passing game so well that he puts you in a lot of precarious situations. He makes you cover, a couple of guys. He puts you in a vertical stretch. Do I go deep here? Do I come underneath on the underneath guy? What do I do here? And you get caught in no man's land, and then as long as you have a quarterback that can make the right read and the right throw, you end up getting a completion. And that happens pretty consistently with this Kansas City offense. This Kansas City offense is really, really good. And whenever you got a player like Patrick Mahomes, that's part of the reason. Now, Eric Bieniemy, of course, has made his tour around. He does, a lot of things for this football team, but Andy Reid is the guy that pulls the trigger, and he's going to be going up against DeMeco Ryans. How does DeMeco Ryans counteract dealing with this? And that was my offensive key matchup this week. Defensive key matchup this week is making Patrick pay the price. We know about the Patrick price. But you just have to make him pay when he doesn't get the ball out really quick. That's part of the problem with Patrick Mahomes. When you allow him to create with his legs, get outside the pocket, and really throw the football, he can make all the off-platform throws. He can make no-look throws. He can do it all. So you have to make him pay the price when he holds onto the football, and that's not easy. It means you have to rush with rush lane integrity. You got to make sure when you're rushing Patrick Mahomes, number one, you don't run too much man coverage. You can, but then he'll beat you with his legs. But also you have to make sure you stay in your lane so he doesn't have avenues to be able to get through, slip out, get to the outside, and throw the ball. Outside defenders are going to have to make sure they bring him in. Inside guys are going to have to collapse this pocket on top of him. It's a tall order to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes. I don't think you actually stop him. You just try to slow him down. How do you do that if you're D'Amico Ryans? It comes down to presenting a variety of different looks. Kansas City likes to motion, and you read motions guys in, motions guys across the formation to try to give you to show and tip your hand on what you're doing coverage-wise. You get a safety that all of a sudden starts to drop off. Does a guy not go across the formation, showing that it's zone? All those things are going to help them understand what routes they're actually going to run and where Patrick Mahomes is going to go with the football. And I think that they also throw in a little bit of a read option RPO look. Now, a lot of times it's predetermined what they're going to do, and Patrick Mahomes is not actually reading. If you go over to the Patreon, you can watch the scouting report video. I go into that in great detail about Patrick Mahomes' eyes and where they're located, giving away a lot of times what the play is. Offensive linemen blocking edge guys, giving away what the play is. I think there are ways to determine what is happening as the play begins. Now, you're going to have to read it quick and then act accordingly, but there is at least a little bit of tells that you can pick up on from what Patrick Mahomes does that may give you an idea of which way you need to go, and you need to be able to take those chances. You need to have that strategic edge against Patrick Mahomes, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So the 49ers can definitely figure this out, but it's going to take a lot of eye discipline this week. You got to pay attention to what you're seeing. And then Andy Reid does some very cool stuff where he runs guys in ghost motion and brings them to the other side of the field. You have to worry about them running a reverse. And then after that, you have to worry about them catching a pass. So it'll keep like a defender that's in the flats from being able to sag and take away a deeper out pattern. Those plays happen as well. So it's really about putting the defense in some precarious situations, but all those plays take time. So getting after the quarterback is important, and you have to get after Patrick Mahomes. But first off, you have to stop the run too. If you don't stop this run game and Edwards-Helaire and Jerick McKinnon get going, you have no chance to beat Kansas City. That's just how simple it is. If they get their run game going, they're able to operate with the run game. You have to commit to stopping that run game with more than just 7 guys or more than just 6 if they put you in a nickel. They're going to be able to play action you to death. They're going to be able to RPO you and take deep shots down the field. It's going to be bad. So you have to stop the run first. Make them a one-dimensional offense. Make it about the pass. And then when you do, locate Travis Kelce. He's the first option. Once you locate Travis Kelce, then after that, you can man up on Juju. Is he going to beat you sometimes? Yes. You can man up on McCole Hardman. Give safety help well over the top to make sure you take him away. But they don't have those guys like Tyreek Hill that can absolutely kill you anymore. Sammy Watkins. Can McCole Hardman do it? Yes. Can Valdez-Scantling do it? Yes, but not at that level of Tyreek Hill. They'll have speedsters, but it's an entirely different offense. They don't put as much vertical pressure on you as they used to. But Patrick Mahomes, because he has a full understanding of this offense and understanding of the weapons, takes what the defense gets him, gets the ball out on time underneath. So you're going to have to rally and make tackles as well. You cannot allow them to consistently move the ball. With them having a conversion rate on third down of over 50%, it's going to be seriously hard, but the 49ers need to stop them on third down. The way you do that is make it 3rd and 7 and farther. Make it a 3rd and long. That'll give you an opportunity to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes in this offense, but it's not going to be easy. But you know what would help be able to stop this offense is to not allow them to be on the field very much. One of the ways you do that is by running the football. Jeff Wilson Jr., Tevin Coleman, TDP, running the football, sprinkle in some Deebo Samuel. That's how you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to methodically move the ball down the field and be able to wear down this defense and keep Mahomes on the sideline. Good offense is the best defense this week, and that's why I know I gave you a quick little glimpse earlier. The offensive key matchup was excellence of execution. The 49ers offense against execution, because they haven't been able to execute at a high level this year. It seems like something always goes wrong. One guy misses a block here. It's a penalty there. It's a dropped football. It's a misread by a quarterback. There's just been somebody making a mistake on every play. If you get it to where you execute and your players make the plays that you need to make, Kyle Shanahan said this to players, he designs every play to be a whole shot touchdown. I know what he's talking about. I used to do the same thing with my offense. So He's looking for that. They just haven't executed those plays entirely yet. When you do, you get the big play from Jeff Wilson against the Panthers where he gets all the way down inside the 10-yard line on a nice run. Those plays are there, but you have to execute. And you're going to have to execute a lot of really tough plays this week against a pretty good Kansas City front. Their weaknesses are in the secondary, and we'll get into that in a minute. But establishing a run game this week is going to be imperative. Will Kansas City come up and try to take away that run game early? I'm sure they will. When they do that, you're going to have to use the passing game to be able to somewhat soften up the defense so you can run the football. You might see Jimmy looking to complete passes early, and the secondary will give you opportunities to do so. You don't have Charvarius Ward at corner anymore. He's with the 49ers. You don't have the Honey Badger Tyrann Mathieu at safety. He's with New Orleans. You don't have Sorensen anymore. He's gone as well. They have lost a lot of players in that secondary, and this is not the same defense the 49ers went against in 2019. Do they still have Clark, the pass rusher? Yes. Do they still have Chris Jones? Yes. They still have those guys. Nick Bolton is playing fantastic at linebacker. They have guys. Now, on that scouting report film as well, we seen opportunities to be able to run the football on the edge. Kansas City presented those. How much of those will be open with the 49ers out there? Because playing against Josh Allen is completely different. You have to play two deep safeties. You have to make sure he doesn't go over the top, which makes a lot of run-friendly boxes. It could be opposite for the 49ers. Lots of not-so-friendly boxes for them where they have to throw the football. That's the way most teams handle Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy's got to continue to take those passes down the field. Some of them will end up being completed, but you're afraid at that point that those passes will be. Not every receiver is going to drop the ball. Eventually, those are going to connect, and you're going to have some big plays. So you have to consistently move the ball, though. And it's about getting the pass game going and rhythm passes so that way you can get the run game established and be able to run the football 30 times. They need to run the football 30 times. If they don't, I don't think they can win this game. 30 to 35 carries will be target. Now, with Jimmy Garoppolo, it's all about converting those third and shorts. When you come up and it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, you have to get the first down. You have to keep your team on the field. How do you do that? There's a variety of different ways. You can run the football, of course. You can run the quick screens, or Jimmy Garoppolo can just find his receivers underneath. Now, one little tendency thing that Kyle Shanahan's probably going to have to do on those 3rd and shorts is not run as many stop routes just at the point of gain. That is where a lot of these guys are absolutely, jumping on these routes right at the first down marker. Push it a little bit farther. Make those guys open their hips, or give that same little look and then run like a whip route, break back out. Send one of those guys deep and run a running back out on a Texas route or a circle route. Do things like that are kind of going to make these guys push a little bit farther down the field and open up that window. When it's 3rd and 3 and everyone runs 3 and 5 yard routes, the defense will kind of clasp on those. So I've seen Kyle Shanahan start working on breaking tendency, taking deep shots to Charlie Warner, taking a shot to Ray McLeod. Those are against tendency. Those aren't things he normally does. Defenses can't be prepared for that. So what will be the next tendency breaker that he does? Last week, he put TDP out there with Deebo Samuel and then used TDP to motion in the backfield and play him as fullback. Something you haven't seen yet. Every time you do that, you make the defense think a little bit more, oh, what's TDP doing on this? And next time you think he's going to block again, and then you get him involved in the run game or get him involved in the passing game. All those little things set up something down the road. Every look you give makes the defense prepare a little bit more. A variety of different personnel groupings and plays and formations put a lot of pressure on the defense, and the 49ers do a very good job of that. So they're going to have to be creative with their run game. They need to keep the Kansas City Chiefs defense on the field, and they need to keep the Kansas City Chiefs offense off the field. Also, do not get into kicking field goals against the Chiefs. You need touchdowns. You can never have enough points against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, ridiculous as far as scoring points. I think everyone remembers how 2019 ended. So you need to make sure you score touchdowns. Butker can also do a really, really good job with extra points. And that is another area where the Kansas City Chiefs have an advantage over the 49ers is special teams. Their special teams is fantastic. It's been good for years. They're one of the best in the league. The 49ers are going to have to make sure they hold their water there. They can't get blown out in that phase of the game. It's going to be tough enough in other areas to be able to handle it. So the 49ers have probably, as long as they have some of their guys back, have the better defense. But offensively, you have to give the mark to Kansas City. And then special teams right now, I would say it's Kansas City. So Kansas City has two areas of the three that they are winning in. So you have to find a way to overcome that. You have to cause a turnover. You have to make a play. I think if the teams were both healthy, I would love to see that offense versus the 49ers defense. I think then you could talk about the 49ers defense and 49ers team overall being better top to bottom. But that's tough not knowing exactly who's going to play and who's going to be able to make an impact on this team. But I think it's that simple. As far as offense, run the football. Running the football is going to be able to create opportunities, not only to use the clock, but then to move the pocket. You start getting them flowing one way. You move the linebackers horizontally. You find windows for Jimmy Garoppolo to throw the football. That's number one. Jimmy, keep taking shots downfield. Even if they're not consistently successful, you will start to get these secondary defenders backing up, creating opportunities underneath. Also, you have to make sure that you get George Kittle involved. Also, third down conversions, run routes a little bit deeper than you normally would. Get these guys to flip their hips and then come back underneath. Give Jimmy Garoppolo enough time to get those plays in, and I think you could be successful. And then once again, for like the third or fourth straight week, run your tunnel screens to the outside. Those things have worked very consistently on offense. That's how you get it done on offense. Now on defense, how do you confuse Patrick Mahomes? I think that's going to be up to DeMeco Ryans. And a lot of it, what bullets is he going to have in the chamber? What players are going to be available? It's going to be manufacturing pressure, all the while keeping Patrick Mahomes in the pocket. That is the key. Locating number 87, Travis Kelce at all times, knowing where he is going to be important. And then picking up on the reads you get out of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, a lot of times, even with motion, won't look at coverage when it's a run play. So pay attention to that. Those little things can give you heads up on if it's a run or a pass. And then I think when he's running his read option, locate the looks. Is he actually a read option or is it a wrap? He's giving the football because that defensive end is getting blocked by that offensive tackle. All those things play into it. And I think the 49ers can come away with some reads that help them slow up Patrick Mahomes. They've proven they can do it before. They did it in 2019. Was that a different roster? Yes. Was that a different team? Yes. Different defensive coordinator? Yes. Same head coach, though. And Kyle Shanahan understands that. He's went over this film against Kansas City before. And just breaking down the film, the coach's film of everything that happens between Kansas City and the teams that they've played this year. The way to beat Kansas City is to run the football and play good defense. And their best defense is actually keeping their offense off the field because they're spectacular. So this is going to be a fun matchup. Looking forward to seeing it and looking forward to talking about it as the week goes. Of course, this week I will not have a game reaction show on Sunday. I am going to be at a wedding. I'm going to be at Alex's wedding, so there will not be a game reaction show after the game. I will reserve the game reaction show for Monday, so you guys can join me. I'll do a live stream on Monday, talk about the game, kind of have numbers, so it'll be like a reaction recap all together in one. Hope you guys all have a very good weekend. Whew, it's going to be a fun one against Kansas City. Can the 49ers get a little bit of revenge for 2019? Is the roster completely different? Yeah, but it's still the Kansas City freaking Chiefs. We want to win. But until then, stay safe. And remember, the right way is always the 49ers.